about love. What was the attachment with that? How do you connect that?
Again, I was bound by a man's love. Just plain and simple. I was bound by a man's love, and then God came in and wrapped me up in his
love. Okay, looks like we are live. So here we have before you Miss Earnestine Smith, talking about her book, Bound by Love. I'm super excited about this. I'm so grateful, honored to God that we were able to have her on our show with us. So I am grateful that you said yes to this live video. I know it was a push for you to be able to talk about your book. And we have had some difficulties, but hey, we are on this thing today. So Miss Earnestine, before we get started, I would like to formally introduce myself. I'm Yolanda Mitchell. I'm the CEO and founder of Newbeing Queens Women Empowerment, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Newbeing Queens Shapewear, and I love to push people in their business. I also have a podcast, a YouTube channel, and I'm a life coach, as well as that's all. I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm leaving it at that. So I thank you so much for having this opportunity to get you on live with us and for us to share your book with the world. This is an honor to have you. So I have Queen April on my cell phone, and I asked her to read your bio to us. And Queen April is also the CEO and founder of Posing for a Purpose. And
all right.
She said yes, she would love to read your bio. She looked at your book. All she seen was the cover of it and was talking about she loved it. I said, but honey, just wait till you look inside and see them poems. So she's gonna she's gonna read your bio off, read a little bit of your bio, and then we're gonna move forward with it. So go ahead, Queen April.
Amen. Good evening and God bless you to all. Miss Earnestine Smith, Queen CEO Yolanda Mitchell. Thank you all for having me on the live stream. And we're going to go ahead and get into the bio of this great woman of God. We have our sought after poet, spoken word artist, CEO and founder of Prophetic Inspirations. And we also have Miss Smith that's done several endeavors as far as poems, and presented several original pieces for church functions, also spoken word events in the community, such as Kiki the Poet. And in 2009, she had an endeavor to go down to Miami, Florida, and present a poem she wrote entitled My Tribute to Trayvon Martin, A Mother's Cry to Trayvon's Parents, Sabrina Fulton, and Tracy Martin. She also had other business endeavors as I Speak, flyers, logos, children's programs, booklets, obituaries, and t-shirt designs. She attended Savannah High School of Performing Arts, where she became a thespian member and received the opportunity to travel abroad and perform in many plays and workshops. She met great celebrities such as Art Rashad and Gregory Hines while participating in school events. Ms. Earnestine attended Darton College, also known as Albany University, where she majored in journalism. She also attended Southern New Hampshire University, where she majored in graphic design. If you would like to contact her for any speaking engagements, book club discussions, or spoken word special events, she can be reached at the Prophetic Poetry at yahoo.com or Facebook at Earnestine L. Smith. Woman of God, thank you. God bless you for your contribution to the kingdom and us as a whole. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Queen April. Thank you. God bless you.
Queen April, you are so phenomenal. Thank you so much for that introduction, that bio reading. I told you always bless me with your words, because you have such a beautiful voice, and I could not do this without you, and you actually reading that off, and I knew it was gonna be beautiful. You always do a phenomenal job. Thank you, Queen April, with your beautiful voice. Posing for a Purpose, yes ma'am. So Miss Earnestine, thank you for being on this podcast. You listen. I know this here is gonna bless somebody that looks at it later on. They're gonna be like, that right there was just awesome. I want you to give us a little bit of feedback, background or back story of your life, so that we can have a better understanding of the purpose of you writing this book.
Okay. Well, as she stated, I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. My father was military, so that's how we ended up in Savannah, traveled all over the world, all over the United States, but he retired in Savannah. My parents are from Texas, so all my family lives in Texas, California, and I have family in Maryland and New Mexico. But so the only people in Georgia is me and my siblings. And
Right.
so I ended up in Albany, Georgia, relocating from Savannah. I've been here over now 20 something years in
Mm-hmm.
Albany, you know. So Albany is my home now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been writing all my life, all my
Right.
life. It started out as me just being a little rap crew called Juicy Crew. We used to write raps, and one day I got in trouble. True story. I was in the sixth grade. I got in trouble for writing raps and not doing my work, and my teacher put me on detention, so I had to stay after school. And she sat down with me because she took my tablet, and she said, "You know, you're a poet." And
Oh
I'm like, "I'm
wow.
not a poet. I'm a rapper." And
Uh-huh.
she said, "I read your work." And that's when she started telling me about the different poets like Maya Angelou. And she was pulling out all these books.
Uh-huh.
And she was the first one to let me know about my gift. And
Come
so
on.
from there, all through school, through middle school up to high school, I just used to write poems for classmates. Valentine's Day, they would pay me to write for their little boyfriend or girlfriend. And it just became my life. And
Mm-hmm.
after I, became an adult, I started raising kids and kind of put my dream on hold. But
Okay.
here I am, holding my dream in my hand.
Come
Got
on now. Bound by love.
Yes, ma'am. Bound by
Wow.
love.
That's awesome. What was your inspiration for writing this book?
Pain.
Pain.
Pain. This book was birthed solely on pain.
Pain.
True story. I'm very transparent.
Please.
So
Yes.
I was going through a divorce. I was going through a separation with
Mm-hmm.
my ex-husband, who was at the time my soulmate. And
Mm-hmm.
it was such a traumatic experience for me. My apostle, Dr. Gwendolyn T. Hope of Center Refuge Church, she helped me walk through that season in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
Apostle Hope, she told me to keep a journal. She
Come
said,
on.
my nickname with my church family is Ernie. And she said, Ernie, you need to write a journal of what you're going through. So out of that journal, every day I will write poems before I go to bed at night. And then when I wake up in the morning, I would just pray and write poems. And from that trauma, it triggered other traumas that happened to me in my childhood. So I was a victim of rape. I was suicidal. I dealt with low self-esteem. I had miscarriages, different things like that. And so all of that came in up, and I began to write about it. And so this is 15 years of trauma, but it ended up going from dark to light because through me being bound by love, and the reason why it was titled Bound by Love, because I was bound by the love of a man.
Come on.
And I was not free in that. When he walked away, when he left me, it's like he walked away with my soul. I lost my mind, I lost my identity, I lost my self-worth. And so when I wrote this book, it took me a long time to even put it out because my pain, I was shameful about it, very shameful about it. But in I think it was 2020 is when I got sick and was diagnosed with a lung condition. And I went through being a very bad experience through, I coded 3 times. I went through several different hospitals, from several different CCU, ICU, back and forth. When I was released from the hospital, the Holy Spirit spoke to me. He said to me, I did not allow you to take your purpose to the grave. He said,
Right.
when you are released from this hospital, you are to release your first book, which is Bound by Love.
Come
And
on.
so God blessed me with a publisher, and I was able to write this book and get it out. And I'm just so grateful to be able to tell the world my story.
Come on.
I'm grateful for the grace
Jesus.
to tell the world my story.
Come on.
Because, he spared me so somebody else can be spared. And I just thank God for that. I will not take this opportunity for granted.
Right.
This book is about his healing, his deliverance, his love, his power. Is about being transitioned from pain to power, from tragedy to triumph. This is what Bound by Love is about. So I'm telling you, when you get this book in your hand, you're going to feel the anointing. You're going to feel the grace. You're going to feel the power of God, because I'm evidence of what's in here. God do heal, and he still delivers.
Wow.
Get me started, sister. Don't get me started now.
Listen, I want you to get
stay in. But he's a good God.
I mean, but it's a blessing. Like I'm so happy that you took out all that stuff that you went through in life, all the pain, the suffering, all the hurt, all of the disappointments, and you applied that into your book. You said, I will refuse to let what I've experienced, the hurt and the pain, disappointments, or whatever, to hold me back and to get me to that place of being depressed and oppressed and all that stuff. You said, I'm gonna use this to be a blessing to the world. I mean, you didn't just say you were just gonna allow it to be a blessing to you or to some people. You said to the world. That is phenomenal. Like that is just big. I read a piece of it, in your book, and I was just looking at how you were just like a message that you were saying to God about God, and was about you being transparent and revealing your pain. So with that being said, I do want you, before we end and everything, I want you to flip through your book, find that one favorite poem that I want you to write, that I want you to read, we want to hear you read that poem, because I know the audience is like, what are some of the things that are inside of your book? So when they look at this Facebook page and they said, what are some of the poems that's in there? I want to be able to read it. You just never know how they can apply these poems to their life, or who they can give these poems to. Or they can say, this woman is such a phenomenal woman that she took pain and made beautiful poems out of her pain. And I just got to have you to read some of that poem, and then tell us, when you wrote that poem, what was going on in your life during the time that that inspired you to write that particular poem. So I'm gonna let you read it, and we'll go from there.
Well, I actually have a surprise for you. Earlier, when I was speaking to you, you mentioned about a poem that you liked in the book, and that poem is called I Almost Let Go Not Knowing. So I want to share that poem for you.
Okay.
And then your audience, I have a poem called You See, which is a poem about my life, and it will explain to you the book. So the reason why You See is so important to me, because that is truly the revealing of what God showed me I am and who I am. Again, before writing this book, I didn't know who I was.
My God.
And so through this experience, God had to show me, had to point at a mirror and say, look at you, and this is what I see. So I want to share 2 points. The first point for your audience will be on page 43. And let me get my glasses on. Try to be cute.
Fix the eyes,
cute like a book, honey. I can't see. But It's called, this is Miss Yolanda's Mitchell's favorite poem.
Come on.
I almost let go, not knowing, on page 8. I almost let go of your hand, not knowing I was not ready to face the world on my own. But I asked myself a question. Could I live in a world without a covering among wolves? And my calm response was, I think I can. I walked away from you, not knowing you were walking behind me. I turned my back on you, not knowing you were standing beside me. I ran away from you, not knowing you were in the front of the line waiting on me. When I became weary, I stopped running, not knowing you were carrying me. I almost let go of your hands, but through my trials and tribulations, I held on to your fingertips, not knowing I was already in your grips.
Wow.
I almost lost my mind from depression, not knowing it was all a part of your plan to get me to a place where I can only depend on you. I almost let go of your hands, not knowing it wasn't me that was holding on to you, but it was you that held on to me.
Come
not
on.
knowing in the midst of my valley of shadow of death, that is how I made it through.
Wow.
I wrote that poem because when you going through so much, and I don't know if anybody ever been there where you feel like you're just by yourself.
Right.
Like, God, I'm praying, but do you hear me?
Right.
I'm going through in my mind, but do you see me? Do anybody see me? Do anybody hear me? And the whole time I was in his hand. He knew. He knew.
Right.
And everything that had to happen to me, everything that happened to me, it had to happen to me. It was necessary for this moment.
Come on, for this moment.
Not knowing I was going to write a book.
Come
Not
on.
knowing I was going to talk to Yolanda Mitchell. Not knowing that I was going to be on platforms around the world.
Come on.
It happened. Not knowing. But he knew.
But he
I
knew.
know. But
Wow.
he knew. So that was the purpose of me writing that poem, not knowing. Hallelujah.
Not knowing.
Before you get
to that next poem, I want to ask you this question. Queen April read your bio, and she did talk about some of the platforms that you were on. Can you tell us some of the platforms you was on before you get to that next poem? Tell us about the platforms that God allowed you behind you being obedient and writing these poems. Tell us.
Yes, ma'am. Well, let me tell you the story of how I met Trayvon Martin's parents. In 2012, it affected me about Trayvon Martin as a mother, a Black mother, losing a Black son. And at that time, when I wrote that poem, I wrote it as if I was in Sabrina's shoes.
Right.
And that's mom, Sabrina Fulton. And so I began to write that poem from a mother's heart. And that's why it's called A Mother's Cry. So that was written in 2012. 2017, 5 years later, I lost my son, Tyke Smith. In my bio, it says I adopted 3 children. One of them was my nephew. His name was Tyke. He was murdered here in Albany, Georgia. A triple homicide murder. It was him, his girlfriend, Adriana, and his best friend. Now I'm in Sabrina's shoes. 2 different tragedies, but we had something in common. We both are mothers. We both lost our Black son. And so in 2019, one of my friends and co-worker, Veronica Williams, we were talking. She was in my office. At the time, I was working at Turner Job Corps as administrator. And she was telling me she's from Miami, Florida. She had to go to Miami to Trayvon's, to help with Trayvon's event because Sabrina was her cousin. I'm like, oh my God, that's your cousin? Right. I wrote a poem for her in 2012. So wow. God connected us through Veronica, where I was able to go to Miami, Florida through the love and the loving grace of family, friends, church family who helped sponsor that trip, to present my poem, a tribute to Trayvon Martin, to both Trayvon's parents, Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin. That to me, I'm a prophetic writer, prophetic poetry. I write poems given to me by the Holy Spirit. Come on. And when I wrote that poem in 2012, it was never in my mind that I would meet her one day. Right. It was just in my heart, as a mother, if I was in her shoes. So to be able to write that in 2012, be in her shoes in 2017, and be able to present to her with that same experience, with that same pain in 2019, it really touched her, and I was honored. She loved it. She told me that she was gonna keep my poem on her desk. And Tracy Martin, his father, he was very grateful for the poem as well. So that's just one of the highlights of the experiences that this journey have taken me on. Like, who would have known? That was another thing, not knowing. Right. You know, I never expected to meet her, but God.
But God, out of your obedience of writing the poems and actually speaking up and saying something, you know, and out of your pain, you had an opportunity. But it took something for you to have went through in order to be able to write all of that and then have an opportunity, but you had to be obedient to God. I'm so grateful for the opportunity for you that God had presented to you, because there's a lot of people never got a chance to be able to get the opportunity to do the things that you have done and to be a blessing. You say, oh my God, and how God just connected it. Like you went through it, you wrote it, and now you're connected with a friend who said, I'm going, and you're saying, oh, I wrote this, and now you find yourself presenting that to her to actually speak to a woman that was, oh my God, and then she kept that poem. So now we have an opportunity for you to read us. Is this the poem that you gave her, or is it a different poem?
This is a different poem.
It's a different poem.
And I will let your audience know, I am writing a book called A Letter to My Black Son. And it's in tribute to my son, Tyke Smith. But that poem, my tribute to Trayvon Martin, will be in that book. So okay. I have not released a poem to the public. I do that poem every Black History Month for different churches. Right. You know, because I want our Black boys to understand the significance of that poem. And that my favorite line in that poem, if your mother is crying, it should be because you graduated, because you made it. This should be a mother's cry. And so I want them to understand the significance of what their life means to us, that birth. And so the poem that I have for you and your audience is about my life. It's the story of me finding my identity, and it's entitled You See.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
If I get emotional, just bear with me, okay?
I don't even have paper towel for myself.
But this poem, for those who are going to purchase the book, is on page 24. It is in the chapter 1, Pain, and it's called You See. No one seems to understand me the way that you do. They cannot feel my pain when I smile or see my brokenness in the truth. They cannot see a lie in the truth or see the wounds from the abuse. They cannot see the cell because they think that I am free. They cannot see the demons of depression and oppression tormenting me. They cannot see the temptation of suicide or the fear of my failures, so I hide. No one seems to understand me but you. You see my hurt, pain in my womb. You see the battle in my mind, the fear I have of always being left behind. You see the failures I had and the mistakes I made. You see the angel of death who constantly tries to escort me to my grave. You see the blood, tears, the sweat of long suffering throughout the years. You see the heartache. You see the drain. You see the devil's plan to make me insane. You see the affliction. You see the trap. You see my anxiety of not looking back. You see the weakness of my lust. You see the 0% tolerance of no faith or trust. No one seems to understand me but you. You see all these things, but yet you say, I love you. Because what you see, I don't.
Right.
When you look at my tears, you see joy. When you look at my pain, you see strength. When you look at my failures, you see hope.
Come on.
When you look at my mistakes, you see an opportunity. When you look at my battles, you see a war. When you look at my temptation, you see determination. When you look at my lack, you see much. When you look at my desire to give up, you see a winner. When you look at my blood and sweat, you see a price. When you look at my death, you see life. When you look at my scorns, you see a beautiful rose with planted thorns. When you look at my blemishes, you see cleanliness. When you look at my scars, you see beauty. And when I ask you, Lord, how do you see all these things? You replied to me, daughter, when I look at you, I see me.
That's when you just wait, I'm just speechless when you just do this right here. You just stand up, because that's what I feel like doing. Just like, I was like that, the end. Powerful, just like Queen Jada said, powerful. Yeah. I don't know what I don't know what to say. I can hear Queen April say, "Oh my God."
I told you, it makes me emotional reading that. I don't know if you can feel it, but it is a very emotional pain for me. It's a very emotional pain for me. But it is my life. It is my life. It is my life. And I don't think there's a human in this world that can't relate to that point.
Yeah.
In some way, fashion, or form.
Anointed. That's all I can say, because I can feel it. I felt the words. Like I felt it all through my body. Like I was I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I wanted to cry, hold it in, be tough, be, not get emotional. I mean, it was just powerful. Like, I was speechless. Like, I don't think you want to do it. They want to just clap your hands and just say, "My God!" Like, speak, like, yeah. I was tense and I felt every word. I felt every word. I felt it. I have Queen April on my cell phone here, and I got her on speakerphone. Queen April, is there anything that you want to add to that? Because I'm just lost for words. I have no word. Queen Patricia said, very powerful. And I mean, there's no other word to say it.
I do. I was in awe, really, but I just want to tell you to just continue doing what you're doing. I mean, I love the authenticity, the openness, and the transparency. The world is a better place because you're in it. And thank God for you. I thank God for you. I really do. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Queen April. Thank you, woman. Thank you, woman.
We have to the audience, for those of you that heard her poem that are looking at this live video, if there are any questions that you all have, if there's anything that you would like to say, anything you'd like to say to her, anything you'd like to share, please do so. This is an open, for us to open it up. You said that poem, Queen Jada said that poem is for me as well. Thank you for your obedience. And that, we were talking about that when we had a discussion about you obeying God and being obedient, and how your obedience opened up all these other doors of opportunity, just by you just, oh my God, like, I mean, it's just like through poems, like poetic, prophetic poems. I mean, it was just like, you found purpose in the pain. You found poems in the pain. You found, there's nothing else you can say at this point. I'm just hoping and praying that those who look at this Facebook Live can take out the time to go and get the poem. I wish I could stop and write it down. So if you could tell us where we can go at to order the book. I'll let Queen April, you go back to that we sent you, for you to tell us where we can go at to get her book. And then when in your time, will you put that in the comments, in the comments here, so that for those who come back and look at this video can also go right to that source, so they can get this poem. I wish I had my book to the show, because I got 2 books
here. You go right here. Yes, ma'am. But I do want to say, Queen Yolanda, before Queen April say anything, that right now the book is on special for $10 for the holidays. It's only through Christmas that you can get this book in my hand for $10. But in order to get this holiday special, you would have to order from me, and you can message me or go to my business page, Prophetic Inspirations, on Facebook, and or just message me to get the book, and then Queen April will have the other information. But if not, you can also order it on Amazon. It's called Bound by Love by Earnestine L. Smith. Make sure you put Earnestine L. Smith, because there's a lot of Bound by Loves out there on Amazon. So you want this one, by Earnestine L. Smith. Earnestine is spelled EARNESTINE. Earnestine L. Smith. You can go to Amazon, and it's on sale there for $14.99. So that's what I wanted to let you know.
So, Queen April, will you go into details? Because we know that if we go through her, y'all, if y'all go through her, we're going to reiterate that. Go through her, message her on her Facebook page, message her, and let her know that you want to order the book. It's $10. It's a special now, a Christmas special. You can order it now before Christmas. It's $10. So get it while it's on sale. Order from her, Miss Earnestine, Sister Earnestine Smith. So Queen April, will you tell us where we can go, different places we can go to order the book, Bound by Love?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize my mic was still here. I apologize. Here it has Prophetic Inspirations Inc. And it also gives at Earnestine L. Smith for Facebook. It also gives prophetic poetry at yahoo.com. Is that correct, Ms.
That is
Ernestine?
correct. Yes, ma'am.
So I'll ping those in the messages. I'll put them in some of the comments so that you all can see them via Facebook Live.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Queen April, for that. So if you put that in the comments here, so that we can definitely go on, and those who are watching this live video can go and order this book, because this book is going to be a blessing to them. They need to be ready. Hey, take it to a church service. If they want to read it to some young men, young women. We just trying to put out some platforms where this book can be used. The poems can be read. Other events. If you want to read an encouraging word to someone who's been going through something, like she said, she had a past that she dealt with a lot of trauma. And if you got somebody who's been through something, you can get those poetic poems and read those poems and let them know that there's somebody else that had went through it too. But they found beauty behind the pain. They found poems behind the pain, and just like they came out and they found beauty in all the pain, they can too. And so this prophetic poetic poem by Earnestine Smith, Bound by Love, they can come out too. They can get that book and just read it and just understand there's purpose in the pain. There's beauty in the pain. Bound by Love. And I'm gonna ask you this: what made you write Bound by Love? What was the inspiration? We know we got those poems, but what made you put Bound by Love? What was the attachment with that? How do you connect that?
Again, I was bound by a man's love, just plain and simple. I was bound by a man's love, and then God came in and wrapped me up in his love. And so it's going from that carnal love to that agape love, the love that will never leave you nor forsake you, abandon you, reject you. He even say in his word that he's married to the backslider. So even when you slide away, he's still with you, So I'm just the covenant, the relationship. So everything that I was looking for in a man to give me, God gave it to me. God gave it to me. And I remember, and I'm going to help somebody with this. I remember the Spirit of the Lord telling me one day, he said, when he left you, the only thing that he did was give my best back to me. And he said, you got to know you are a gift and I'm your father. So I presented you to him. And so when he decided he didn't want you anymore, when he decided he was going to leave you, all he did was give my best back to me. And that within itself, God just loved me, honey. I got a big head, God. I'm telling you.
Favors all over you. Favors
he loves me. He blows my mind. And I said, Lord, I thank you. So I'm his best,
Yes, you are.
I'm his best. So.
Oh my goodness, what a blessing. And thank you so much for sharing your book with the world, sharing your book with us. And thank you so much for coming on Newbeing Queen Talking, our platform on Facebook Live, to share your story about your poetic poem, your book, Bound by Love. Sister Earnestine, you are such a blessing to me. You have been a blessing to us. I know for those who's on this live are blessed by it. I pray and hope that you all can get this book, share this book, pass it out to one of your loved ones, give it to one of your daughters or sisters or aunts, uncle. Anybody can take the book, actually. Anybody who's been going through something, a hard time, hardship, oppression, depression, share the book with them and let them see that there's so much inside of this poetic book that is, I don't know, just so beautiful. Because at the end, I love how at the end of the ones that you read, that there was so much, that's something that came out of, there was a blessing behind the poem. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Before we get off live, is there anything you want to say to the audience before we let you go?
Yes, I just want the audience to know that this book, although it is my story, is a story of God and how he brought me from a very dark place into his light. So I want your audience to know that this is more than just words in a book. This is healing. This is deliverance. This is power. This is my testimony, but it's definitely a tribute to God. These are my songs to God. You know, David wrote the songs in the Bible. These are my songs to God, you know, and I just want your audience to know that when they purchase this book, they're purchasing a testimony of how powerful our God is and how powerful he still is. So I thank God for you giving me the opportunity to be on this live, be on your podcast. I thank God for Queen April reading with such elegance my bio. And I just look forward to many more interviews with you, because there's another book coming, you know. So we got Free by Love coming. So we're definitely audience, get used to hearing Earnestine Smith, because I'm not going nowhere, baby. I'm here. I'm here.
Right.
Here.
Oh my goodness.
God bless you. Thank you, sis.
What a blessing. Queen April want to say something else before we allow you to leave, before we let you go.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Go ahead, Queen April. We'll let you talk.
Queen Earnestine Smith, like I tell everyone, and Queen Yolanda can attest to it, stay as beautiful as you are. It is my continued prayer that God will forever bless and keep you. God bless you, woman of God.
God bless you. God bless you.
I love what she said that. She said it so beautiful. I mean, and stay as beautiful as you are. She said it so pretty. Oh my goodness. Well, Sister Earnestine, thank you so much for getting on this live video with us on Facebook. Thank you so much. We bless God. Thank him for you. And thank you for your obedience in writing this poetic poem book, Bound by Love. We love you. Thank you so much. And we will talk soon. I love you.
Love you. Thank you.
You're welcome. God bless you.
Bye.
Like, share, subscribe, and press the bell button.